Good day, everyone. This is SteveTV.tk and Donald Potter, and today we are at the Royal Canadian Navy Museum.
Yes, it's the corner at the military base.
Wonderful. So this is episode number 5, correct?
That's right.
Wonderful. So on episode number 5, to let you know where we left off, we were saying people that have feedback, veterans who are wanting to participate in this series, who are wanting to provide feedback, being invited on the show and so on, are more than welcome to contact us. We currently have magazines as well as national newspapers across Canada that are going to publish the article about the series as well.
That's right.
So to continue from where we left off, we talked about your brother, along with information from medical reports and so on. Why don't you tell us more about that situation?
Well, the situation continues to unravel when we came back from the service at sea with NATO, and we came back from HMCS Donnacona. And when we were at HMCS Donnacona, I was supposed to get my medical release, but only after I got the medical documents and the treatment and the follow-ups that I needed before being released. According to the commanding officer of HMCS Donnacona at the time, I was not permitted to be released until those documents were handed over to the Department of National Defense. But what happened is those documents were never produced because I was never given a medical, I was never given a follow-up since the Navy. I was never given a pension. I was never given any treatment, although all the other documents from February 10th and the other one on the Gatineau and the one from the Surgeon General said that I should have been hospitalized for an extended period of time. So nothing was done. So it's hard to believe that under the circumstances of the Surgeon General saying that I have to be in the hospital for 60 days, 14 days release, and then I get reduced. I said I want to file a complaint against the military personnel in the hospital, the nurse that was treating me for not letting me see my brother and avoiding me from speaking to the military police or the next of kin or my priest. It all unravels to the point that there seems to be a terrible injustice. The balance of justice doesn't recognize that this guy used the Navy to escape to sea. It doesn't recognize my injuries. And as soon as I fell the second time in the hospital and I reopened all the stitches, and she looked at me and she said, "I told you wouldn't make it to the end of the bed." And it was mockery. And then I got secured to not even be able to feed myself alone. It seems almost impossible to comprehend that I and my twin brother were left for dead, and we're treated in a most inappropriate mannerism, surely unethical, surely unprofessional, and then that is all goes along with the fact of me being pre-released, sending me to sea in such horrible conditions. The aftermath of me coming back to Montreal and then forcing me to march in the parade, as I mentioned before, when I was totally unfit, and really causing me intimidation and insult in front of my peers and the public, encouraged me more to file a complaint and encouraged me more to ask, and not only ask, but demand that I get the medical treatment I needed. But we were misinformed then. We were told once we were out of the Navy that we had no follow-up, we have no medical thing. So we went on to believing that once we were released, it's over. So we had no recourse. We were young, we were naive. It's our first time at sea. We both got concussion syndromes, and at that time, like I mentioned before,
Yes.
now we know through Sidney Crosby that concussions are much more serious, and it could take decades for the symptoms to come out. It might not be a 6-month thing; it might be 20 years. But over a severe concussion or major concussion and all the injuries I had. Even the trauma center that I went to recently said there was no way that I should be back to work within a period of a minimum of 3 to 6 months without reassessments on a regular basis and followed up treatment. That's what the trauma center said from a major hospital. The other documents, I went to see a neuropsychologist. I had to go through trauma tests. I had to go through medical evaluations from the Department of Veterans Affairs, who acknowledged that all these symptoms have happened from 1969. I even went to the Montreal Neurological Institute and to Sherbrooke Institute, to the Montreal General Hospital of Neuropsychology, which all say the same thing. But the DVA and I've asked for my medical documents. At one time, they took my medical documents. They send them somewhere, or they send it by Purolator. And when I get my medical documents, Purolator or whatever the company was, threw them on a gallery. My medical documents and your medical documents, obviously, if you're in the Navy or military, are when you go in, they're confidential, they're top secret or whatever, and they're classified documents. So why throw them on a gallery? No signature, no nothing. In the spring, I find the documents. Meantime, I complained that I never got them, and they said, yes, they were sent by a courier. And then when I wrote back and I said, well, how come, and I phoned, I said, well, how come I found them in the snow in the spring, all moldy, and you couldn't even read them? I said, well, they don't require a signature. I said, well, since when do classified documents? Now, you have a big thing with the military and with the classified documents in the United States during the election. Just imagine now, our classified documents, we're serving members of personnel. If you release information on confidential documents, you are to be prosecuted and to the harshest mannerism in the Canadian Armed Forces. It's top secret. It's secret, classified, confidential, secret, or top secret. Yes. Those are your classifications, and you are not, and you are sworn not to relieve any information. Yet they take our medical documents, give them to a courier, do not require a signature. At another time, what happened? I'm waiting for my decision. What they do, they send me a decision of a guy that lives in Saskatchewan. His name, his medical file, all his complete military dossier, medical dossier, they send them to me in error. I have the decisions, I have all the money he's going to make, I have telling me when he's going to get the checks, everything, all the classified information. I phoned him, I said, you sent me the documents of this other person. They said, well, it's a mistake, throw them in the garbage. I was so peeved off. Excuse me, is that what we are? We're veterans, we're trash. Okay. You just take our medical documents and say, oh, they're sent to somebody else by air. You don't take any accountability.
They said to you to dispose in the trash the sensitive information from
that's right, from another person, from another province, with all his pertinent information. I called back Ottawa and I said, this is disgraceful, this is disgusting. And they said, well, send them back to us. So that was the second response. The first one was destroy them, throw them in the garbage. You have no right to them. I said, if I have no right to them, what the hell am I doing with them? So where is the confidentiality and the respect? Where is the common decency and the respect for our medical and our D&D files when you say they're confidential?
Wow.
And classified. Mm-hmm. So it puts our security at risk. And you don't need cyberspace to be a security at risk. You don't need to have some other means of putting your stuff at risk. The Canadian Armed Forces just let your dossier go there, and then when they say that, and I could back this up, and I'm willing to back this up, I'll even go on a lie detector test. No problem. This is the way our veterans' dossiers were treated. Then finally, on top of that, they're supposed to give us our dossiers within a certain delay of time.
Yes.
You know, every time I ask for my dossier, it takes over 6 months. Oh. And if I have my documents here, in the documents that I showed you in a previous segment, yes. I have official documents.
Yes.
From the DND that says they could not find my documents from when I was in the Hastings and Prince Edward Regiment in Belleville, Ontario. They couldn't find my documents.
Okay.
They acknowledge I was there.
Yes.
But they can't find any of my documents. So where is the documents?
Well, I will say it's definitely quite a puzzle, quite an unusual situation, and I am sure that for this episode we will definitely conclude right now, and stay tuned for more. For next week we will have more than the forward, the onward of the information for you. Stay tuned for more. Thank you
very much.